Hello, this is Dr. Don White, and this podcast is the third of three on how to use the IASA Senate Bill 7 Performance Rankings file. The first podcast provided an overview of the file. The second podcast provided information about transitioning data from a previous version of the file into this version of the file. And this third podcast provides directions for using the optional Microsoft Word notification letter. To access the notification letter, I move to the bottom of the Excel spreadsheet, the first page called Directions and Disclaimers page. In the file with the data that I've transitioned into, my most recent file, there's a link down at the bottom called Senate Bill 7 Notification Letter. I click on that link. I receive a message that says that some files can contain viruses. Would you like to open this file? I click OK. And then it's possible behind this window you're going to have a dialog box, and you may need to manipulate your keyboard by using Alt-Tab or the Command tab on a Mac, and you'll get a dialog that says, opening this document will run the following SQL command. I don't want to do that because it's pointing to a file that happened to be on my computer. You want to point it to your file. So what we're going to do is say no, do not run that command. And it opens a file that is the merge file. You'll notice that there are fields in this letter that have been populated from the data file, the Excel file. So the next step is to connect this letter to the Excel file, my most recent version. A side note, for this year, there will only be one letter per employee. Previously, there was one letter for their current position and one letter for each of their other eligible positions. This year's letter is only going to include one letter, and it will be for all of those positions. You can see on the letter where I have the current position listed, and you also see if that person will be eligible for other positions within the district. The first thing I need to do is save this letter to the same file where I have my Excel file. I'm going to click on File, Save As. I'm going to browse to get to the folder where my Excel file is located. I know that it happens to be in that folder. I'm going to name this Sample for the work that I'm showing on this podcast, and I'm going to click Save. Now that I've saved that, the next step is to connect this Word document to the Excel document. In order to do that, I'm going to click Select Recipients. Use an existing list. I'm going to navigate to the location of the Excel file. Select the Excel file that I want to use, which happens to be this sample file. And then this is an important step. We want to make sure that we select the Merge Data worksheet. This is where all of the data exists that can populate this letter. Then I select OK. It may take a few seconds for the letter to populate. In order to make sure that it's done it correctly, I click on Preview Results at the top. And you'll notice that I can scan through each of the employees to see their data. Before printing this, I want to make sure that I'm printing only current employees. Remember that the Excel file includes employees that are currently employed and employees that are no longer employed. So I want to filter out the no longer employed and only print letters for currently employed employees. I do that by selecting Edit Recipient List. It's going to take a few seconds to populate this window. Once it's populated, I can make this larger so that we can see it more easily. And make this column a little bit wider so that I can see that this is the employment status column, and I'm going to use the drop-down filter here and select only currently employed. Now it's going to print only the rows where it says currently employed in the Excel file. Another tip, if you'd like to sort these by building or sort them by teacher name, however you'd like to sort them, you can click on Sort, and you could select at the top. Example would be the work location, which would sort them by buildings. You could select Other information, however you'd like to sort them. You could sort them by other eligible positions or teacher last name. I'm going to sort them by position type. And I select OK. It takes a second to resort the data. It's been resorted, and I select OK. The last step in the process is to print the letters. You could print them to a PDF by clicking up here where it says Finish and Merge. You could print documents, say All. You could print to Adobe or any printer that you happen to be connected to. You could also print individual letters for each person. So Finish and Merge, edit individual documents. All, say OK. It will take a second to create the letters. Notice that it created a new file. I can rename that if I choose to when I save it. And then I have an individual letter for each employee. I could edit individual employee letters if I choose to, or I could print from here. This has been an overview of how to use the optional Senate Bill 7 notification letter and how to connect it to the Microsoft Excel latest version of the IASA Senate Bill 7 Performance Rankings file. I strongly urge you to read the directions and disclaimers page as it gives you additional information, and I encourage you to listen to the first 2 podcasts as it'll provide information that'll make the use of this file much more efficient. Thank you.